Hey guys, this is Mrs. Ottinger. So I'm going to talk with you all in book group today about these things, but I also wanted to make you a video that you could play in case you got confused, because I'm going to throw a lot of terms at you today, and I want to make sure you kind of know what you're doing. The first set of terms are something we call figurative language. It's just terms for different kinds of words that we use to make writing more interesting and more intriguing for someone who's reading. So the first thing in the list of figurative language is alliteration. What is alliteration? It's the repetition of the first letter or sound of each word in a sentence. So an example would be voracious volcanoes vibrated the valley very violently. So that the beginning is always having the same letter. The next one is hyperbole. That word with the H is hyperbole. It kind of looks like hyperbole, but it's hyperbole. It's a figure of speech that includes an exaggeration. So like if you say to mom and dad, I've been waiting for 1,000,000 years to get this gift. Can you get it for me now? Well, obviously you haven't been waiting 1,000,000 years, but sometimes we exaggerate so that we are emphasizing what we're saying. So this says, I know you've wanted 1,000,000 light years to learn about hyperboles. I'm also sure that's not true, but anytime you're exaggerating like that, it's hyperbole. An idiom. An idiom is an expression that means something different. So for example, you might have heard the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs. That means it's raining really hard. But obviously it doesn't really mean that it's raining cats and dogs. It's just a saying to help get across a different meaning. Okay, so this on the page it says don't chicken out. That's another phrase for being afraid, but don't be a chicken. We're not telling someone to actually try not to turn into a chicken. Okay, next one. This is a fun one and kids love this word. It's onomatopoeia. Okay, onomatopoeia. It's a word that originates from a sound. So any of those words that are really sounds like buzz, snap, ding dong, those are all onomatopoeia words, and it's a fun word to say in itself. Personification. Notice at the beginning of it says person. That's if an animal or an object or something like that takes on the qualities of people. So for example, the example on the page says the stars are smiling and winking. Well, stars don't really smile or wink, but they're doing actions that we say humans do. So that's personification. The next one are similes and metaphors. That's when you compare one thing to something else. Basically, they're both comparisons. It's just that the simile uses like or as. So you could say, the sun is like a giant light bulb in the sky. Okay, so that would be a simile about the brightness of the sun. Or you could say she's as smart as Einstein. Okay, so if she's using as, you're comparing her to Einstein. And a metaphor is the same thing. You're just not using like or as. So you could say the sun was a light bulb in the sky. Well, it's really not a light bulb, but we're using a metaphor to talk about the brightness. Okay, so those are different figurative language. The next thing that we want to look at are just prefixes and suffixes. A prefix goes at the beginning of a base word. Okay, so let's think of the word heat. Okay, heat means to warm something up, right? So if I say reheat, it changes the meaning to let's heat that thing up again. Or if I say preheat, I'm going to get the oven hot before I cook my food. So that's a prefix, goes before. A suffix goes after. Okay, so she's not just smart, she's the smartest. Okay, so sometimes we've got prefixes on a word or suffix, but just remember prefixes at the beginning, like the prefix pre, and suffixes at the end. Okay, The next one I want to point out are parts of speech. Now, you may not be familiar with these, and I'm going to post this chart to help you. Verbs show action or being, like she ran the mile or she is awesome. Okay? Adverbs describe words that are verbs or adjectives, and they usually end in ly. So she didn't just run, she ran swiftly. So ran would be the verb, but swiftly would be the adverb because it's telling you how she ran. Nouns are people, places, and things. Adjectives are words that describe a noun. So a noun might be book, and the adjective might be awesome, or easy, or difficult. Conjunctions connect. And is probably the one that you use the most. Articles are just those little words a, in, and the. Pronouns take the place of a noun. So like she, he, him, her, they, it, all of that. Prepositions show placement. Okay, so for example, above, after, around, before, it's telling you placement of how it relates to something else. And interjections express strong feelings. So, eek, gosh, great. All of those things are interjections when you're just kind of going kind of thing in your speech to express an emotion or thought. The last thing I want to talk about is point of view. For our purposes in second grade, there are going to be two basic points of view. Point of view number one is first person. That means the person is telling you a story about themselves. So the example says, I've been staring at my food bowl for hours. So it's like the dog is telling you the story because he's saying, I've been looking at it, okay? But another point of view would be third person. So if I was doing third person, we're going to skip second. If I was doing third person, it would be me talking about the dog. So I would say, my dog has been staring at her food bowl for hours, and her food bowl hasn't magically appeared like it usually does. So if I'm talking about somebody else, then it's third person. If I'm telling the story and it sounds like I'm talking about myself, it's first person. I know that's a lot of terms. I'm going to post this video and all of the terms that we talked about, because when you do your work for Rise of the Balloon Goons, you're going to find questions that go along with these terms. So if you forget what they mean, you can look at the charts and watch this video. And if you're not sure, look at the charts, watch this video, make your best choice. If you are wrong, it's honestly okay, because these are terms you may not be familiar with. So I'm not expecting you to be absolutely perfect in everything. Just do your best job and we will figure it out together. But I want to be able to give you questions to work on today for your book and chapters to read. And you're going to encounter questions that say, what is the point of view? Or which figure of speech is this? Is this personification or onomatopoeia or something like that? So I just want you to know what these are before you attempt to do this work. Really excited about our group. I think it's going to be awesome. Thanks.